hearing that? I'm hearing it loud and clear. I'm hearing war drums from the Middle East. Stay tuned. We'll discuss the trickle-down theory of war and economics. So we find ourselves on the brink of World War III once again. With all this intelligence, with all this love, with all these creative people, we find ourselves on the brink nonetheless. How does it happen? You know, the military-industrial complex, it's a business. They know war is good business. It's big business. They promote the mantra of trickle-down economics. In my opinion, blood trickles down faster than trickle-down economics, unfortunately. War, what's it good for? Absolutely nothing. But it is inevitable, most likely, at least in this type of a social economic world that we live in, which is a monetary-based economy. So what you're going to have is you're going to have an ongoing, unending battle for resource acquisition. In a monetary-based economy, countries are going to be involved in a chess match where they're in each other's territories, vying for control of the resources, making deals, breaking deals, spying and stealing on each other, all the things that we all know about. Unfortunately, that's what goes on. And is it going to get better? On one hand, I say no, because the battleground is actually getting wider and more infinite as we go into space with Space Force, and we start to look for resources on other planets and on asteroids and things like that. Same principles of economic leverage, strength, control of resources, things like that, requirements for profit to shareholders, all the stuff that, for good or not good in this system, all the things that drive all of these outcomes. On one hand, there's a lot of good things: schools, organizations that help people, infrastructure, society, things we love to do. On the other side of that coin is again war, economic scarcity, complete and utter differences on the food chain between those at the top and everybody else. I mean, you all know it, we all experience it. In this world with social media and all the electronic forms of communication, we all know what's going on. And once we sort through the fake news, which is probably 50% or more, we can still understand trends and know what's going on. We're not stupid, despite all the stuff that is pushed out there in the mainstream media. The world has woken up for the most part, and it's more now of what the hell do we do with this? We're aware of it. We're not the cause of it, but in some ways we are, and it's too big for sometimes for individuals to change it, but also that's the only way we're going to change it. So it's an interesting and terrifying time we live in. Again, war, sometimes it's inevitable. There are evil organizations out there. There are evil people. General Smedley D. Butler, if you look him up, he'll tell you that all war is a scam. All of it is planned for economic development, nothing else. Even religious wars. Religious wars are always about resources and control. So, with all that being true, what can we do about it? Can we do anything? you know, when I was a kid, there was some sort of movie called "What If They Gave a War and Nobody Showed Up?" And you know, in theory, everybody could say no. We're not gonna go to war for petrochemical companies or whatever other, you know, bankers are investing in this war. That's easier said than done. It's not like you can avoid the consequences of a country who decides, whose elected leaders decide to go to war despite what the population says. And look, before I forget this, there are evil people out there, and I'm not a pansy or a hippie who, you know, thinks all of this is just going to go away because we want it to, or we have an ideal of something better. You know, if somebody attacked my loved ones, I'd probably fight them and take them out. You know, that guy in Iran that tortured and killed all of our citizens, they took him out with a missile. A lot of people against that. I think Trump did what he had to do, you know. With great power comes great responsibilities, and you got to make tough decisions. Look, I'm not against, I am against bloodshed, violence. I believe humankind could be cooperative and continually evolving, but I wouldn't take shit either. So there's got to be a way around this for the 7 billion of us to figure this out. And you know, I just recently saw that last Star Wars movie, and one of the things in it, and by now I can say stuff about the movie because most people have seen it, is you know, kind of a spoiler but not, where they talk about the powers that be keep us all divided. They keep us all separated. And what they don't realize is that our hearts and the love we have for each other will overcome that. We won't forget that we're one, despite how much they separate us. And that those people living in terror of us coming together is a real thing. So what do? I put this video out here. I know that not everybody's going to agree with me. You know, like, it's particularly taking out that guy in Iran. If he had killed someone that I loved, I would have done it. Absolutely. So, you know, there are situations where violence and war happen, and you can understand why somebody would do it. You know, a lot of these terrorists from other countries, their families got killed, you know, and they were just collateral damage to some political, economic agenda, and they become hateful towards the country that did that. I understand that. So there's got to be a way. And I think what it is, in fact, I know what it is our world has evolved to this level. Monetary-based economies. Everything is about using resources and assets to create something of value and to generate a better return than what you invested. And also it involves the time factor, the time value of money, what you borrowed versus what you're bringing in. That's how it works. People have the guts to invest in it. They expect a return. People work to generate that return. Everybody benefits. Unfortunately, all systems run their course, and this system's run its course. It's global. The technological tools make it such that we can wipe our entire species and all the other species out in the process. So it's time to find a better way. And that better way, in my opinion, would be a resource-based economy. We have to work towards understanding that resources are owned by everybody. Now, I know people are going to hear this and they're going to say, you friggin' hippie, it doesn't work. You're like a Bernie Sanders or something like that. And I'm not. What I am is an evolutionist, a futurist, a realist, and someone who's decided to take some action to improve this world instead of bitching and moaning about it. Look, violence is a way of life right now, and I don't want it to be that way. While we're here, we got to protect ourselves, but we got to improve. There is no good outcome to violence. So a resource-based economy gives that option. With the tools we have today, with all the scientists, with all the resource managers, with the programmers, with all these intelligent people, you can quantify resources, decide how to use them, have different specialists develop different programs for things like food, for infrastructure like roads and trains and planes, for education, for health and medicine, for food, for ways to interact with other countries, such that we're sharing resources and concepts to raise both of them up. It absolutely can be done. And it's not like you can change the world like flipping a switch and boom, you're in this new world, but you can, excuse me for a second, you can start to test these out in like test cities and have people live in there and in a given geographical area and work the system out, work the kinks out, and then as it gets better and better, you bring more and more areas into it, and you start to radiate outwards of the theory of resource-based economies. Now, I didn't invent that, but I've been a believer in it as I came aware growing up and seeing and living in various forms of economic disparity and violence. I came to work on and to develop this belief in this next level for humankind. And there is an organization that I came across 10 years or so ago, the Venus Project. They're out of Venus, Florida. Go online, check it out. There's videos, there's a web page. That's an option where they've studied this. Jacques Fresco and Roxanne Meadows came up with it. It gives an absolute alternative to what we're living now. Look, what we're living now, there's a lot of great stuff. I mean, I was just downstairs watching a football game on TV. It's totally entertaining, great time. But I'm lucky enough to live somewhere a little bit higher on the food chain than most of the world. So I'm not dodging bullets where there's somebody out there exactly like me who loves their family, exactly like me, dodging bullets and bombs from other countries. So, say what you will, this has to be changed. We're not going to be here long enough if we don't do anything. I've got kids. I'm sure all of you have loved ones and want to see this world improve. It can be done. 7 billion focused people cannot be stopped. 1% can't run 99% forever. All right, I'm going to let you go. I know it's a dark topic, but it needs to be spoken about. Not everything can be fun, but we can make this world an absolute better place. Okay, guys, peace and love. Talk to you soon.